We have one more keynote speaker who will be here to address you, and it's we saved the best for the last, I think. Ruth Oniang'o is someone who has a wealth of experience. Her biography is in your guidebook and also in your book that you have there, so you can read about her background. But she has a wealth of experience in both the public and the private sector in food and agriculture in Africa. I won't begin to list all of her accomplishments, but she is very well placed to talk to you. She is currently the board chair of the Sasakawa Africa Association and the Sasakawa Africa Fund for Extension Education. So her connection with agriculture, food, and youth and education is quite profound. So I think she has some really interesting things for you to hear. So would you please welcome Ruth Oniang'o.
Hey, Jambo. Yeah, you're so quiet. Thank you, Roger. I'm happy to be here. And this is not a keynote address. I don't like keynote addresses, you know. Those are fit for my good friend Rhoda Tumusime, Ambassador, Her Excellency. And this coming at the end of this very exciting conference, you've said it all. I've had some of it because I arrived yesterday after lunch, and the debate here was amazing. All the great things that have been said already. So I sat up at night last night, and then what am I going to say? Everything has been said. So just bear with me. I'm happy to be here. And the reason why I came late yesterday was I was in Europe for other meetings, and this MasterCard Foundation, they are so persistent. I had told them I couldn't come. Oh, you say Rhoda is going to be there? Oh, Agnes Kalibata is going to be there? Oh, Segnet is going to be. Then I don't have to come. You know, Lindiwe is going to be. I don't have to come. He said, no, Ruth will bring you from wherever you are. Anyway, so I arrived in Nairobi, went to my house for 1 hour, came back to the airport, and I was here. So when people ask me, oh, is it taxing? Is it so hard? I say, not when it is about youth, yeah? I think the older we grow, the more we want to associate with young people. Because really, we want to leave a legacy. So when I'm gone and you are happy I'm gone, you can say good things about me. And I mentor a lot, and I believe being close to young people really keeps your head, your brain cells away from Alzheimer's and dementia and so on. So let me thank the MasterCard Foundation. Really, last night I was telling them that I don't know of any organization right now that is so focused on young people and trying to place them in the agricultural value chain. And I was encouraging them to stay on course. There'll be disappointments, there'll be disruptions, because that's what life is all about. But there's clearly the right path, and there'll be a lot of support for it. And especially from governments who don't even know what to do with the so many young people they have. And so I think you are doing the right thing, and I thank you for bringing me here to be close to you. Let me put my watch here so that I time myself. I chair the Sasakawa Africa Fund for Extension Education, Sasakawa Africa Association. The association was started in 1984-85 following the Ethiopian famine, which killed 1 million Ethiopians. That's when it started, by a Mr. Sasakawa, philanthropist from Japan, joined by Dr. Norman Borlaug with these green revolution technologies, which had worked in Asia, India, Pakistan particularly. And then they brought on board President Jimmy Carter for political leverage. And they said they wanted to help Africa rid itself of hunger and famine. And we are still here in Kenya right now We have drought and famine as a national disaster. Animals are dying. There's no rain. Even high-end parts of Kenya, Nairobi, are having drinking water rationed. Okay, for the first time. Of course, maybe because of climate change. But that organization then worked in 14 countries, and now we are in only 4 countries. So if you are here from those countries, it's Mali, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Uganda. So you can see me later on, and I can connect you with our offices there. Because I think one of the things we are realizing that there's so much going on in Africa. As we hold this meeting here, another one is somewhere else, and just too much going on. And as Kenyans, we meet more outside than we do in Kenya because we are all over the place doing jumbo everywhere. And the environment even allows us to perform better outside than it does in our own countries sometimes. So it's good that, that we can spread out and look at Africa as Pan-African. I consider myself a Pan-Africanist. I know where my placenta was buried in Kenya. I love that. But at the end of the day, I believe that we share so much that together we can help to bring the continent to where it needs to be or where it should be going. And then when I talk internationally, I tell my friends who don't have enough melanin, I tell them welcome, because you all came from Africa. I think somewhere in the Rift Valley of Kenya, maybe in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. But at the end of the day, we are just children of the human race. And you cannot, as a family, be happy when your siblings are not okay. And I come from a past where I never, ever imagined that there would be an Obama, ancestors in Kenya, as president of the USA? Of course not. I never, ever imagined. And right now, it may not happen in my lifetime, but I believe someday Africa will feed the rest of the world. It will. Yeah, it will. Yeah. And you young people have to believe it. You have to be in the driver's seat. We don't lack friends. Look here. We don't lack money, but it goes to the wrong place. And you have to ensure the money goes where it should go. Africa is not poor because we don't have resources. We are probably the richest continent on earth right now. Only a quarter of what can be irrigated, 4%, is irrigated. Only 4%. And then I did food and nutrition. I've been talking about nutrition, quality food, quality food. When I went to the US, I meant to study medicine. Then, I changed my mind when a cousin of mine had a big tummy. And I said, what's wrong with that big tummy? He can't walk. They say, kwashoko. I said, what kwashoko? Food. Food? Really? So food is a first medicine, isn't it? And then you go back and you discover, who is producing food for Africa? It is women. And like Segnet will say, we cannot feed Africa on the backs of women. women. How does a continent, our whole continent feed our whole continent? Just women only. And if you go to Benin right now, and we were discussing that here, you see a woman now on a motorbike, a child on the back, food in front, something elsewhere. She's actually on a motorbike, not this one, yeah? Where's the woman? She's on a motorbike. A modern African woman is still doing everything. And you men, okay. You men, okay. I love you because I've had children with men, with a man, one man. But I love you more when you support women. Yeah. Yeah. In my village, I have an award for the men. And actually, I constitute a committee, and I tell them to find that one man who knows what his responsibilities are. Yes, I love women. I love young women. I mentor them. Wherever I am, I encourage them. When I take out my card, I give you, and I ask for you to give me one. You say, oh, I forgot. I say, you forgot what? Wherever you go, you have to give someone your contact, because that could be your breakthrough. And when you don't have it, I've had a young lady who goes and she wakes up in the morning. She comes, Prof, I have my business card. She has written it all out in ink, and she's now cutting it up, and she gives it to me because it's your contact. So I'm a teacher, as I teach all the time. But with Sasakawa, we embraced youth a long time ago, and we also started to go into value chain a long time ago, because all of a sudden, we could quadruple yields. And I remember visiting in Tanzania a woman who had harvested so much sorghum, and there was a heap of it in her living room. She had nowhere to sleep or to sit because of the harvest. So Africa can produce a lot. And then at the end of the day, what do I do with all this? What do I do with all this? And so that's where the issue of storage, value addition, markets, which Agnes Kalibata keeps talking about. Where do you market? How do you now turn this into money? Agriculture has money. But look, even I cannot dig with a hoe, tilling the way my grandmother used to do, the way my mother used to do. It's a lot of work. I think it's too much to expect. And so when we say 70% of African food is produced by women, those women are now going to school. They don't want to be tilling away. And that's why we need the young people. Young people. It doesn't have to be sexy. It has to make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Even when I see a young woman with a hoe on her back, it's nice. I still have them, but I'm not going to dig that as a job. No way. And I don't want them to. So I became an advocate for women. And now I'm an advocate for the youth, because we have all understood what the women are doing on this continent. I think the international community has understood it. And now we are talking to the youth. And, while we are busy, when the computers first came, I went for a 2-week course to learn the keys and how to press this for what, F1 for what. Then the laptop came, and I told my 13-year-old daughter, can you learn it? Then you'll teach me. She didn't sleep, and in the morning she said, Mommy, I know it already. So young people are really digital savvy. But they also want to make money. They don't have to own the land. Women have been struggling to own land. The men have refused to give us land. It is in their name, these men. We want them to give us land. Now I tell them, keep the land. Because we want the land to be leased, to produce money, to produce businesses, to produce food. It can be leased. It does not have to be owned. And it requires government policy. Our government policy. And that's where organizations like MasterCard Foundation come in. And I've always worked, I studied, came back to Kenya. I've always worked out of Kenya. Yeah? I stayed in Africa for whatever reason. I had my own reasons to do that. So when we struggle to get our leaders to understand, and I know Rhoda, my my baby sister. How hard you have worked to finally get our heads of state to accept that agriculture matters. And I hope we all understand the bigger definition of agriculture. It's not just digging, production. It's a value chain. And I deal with the nutrition. Nutrition. It has to be quality food. Right now in Kenya, everybody is looking for traditional food. The middle class are looking for traditional food. And that is the more expensive food. You know, cassava, you know, groundnut, different kinds of nuts, indigenous vegetables, insects. I love insects more than I do meat, yeah? Fish. Because now they are aware that quality food determines who you become, what you look like. And that our own food, traditional African food, imagine, is organically grown. It didn't have chemicals. It has no gluten, right? It is the healthiest food. And so we should be able to add value to it, process it, and export it. Isn't it? And that's where the young people are. You package it nicely. Because my women will not know how to package nicely that food for you to buy it. But at the same time, we are saying, as we are educated also, we can also welcome other foods from elsewhere. We travel. We have been at this hotel. You choose what you want to eat, what is healthy, you know? So for me, nutrition is absolutely key. And it's an area where we need to see more young people. And it's an area which attracts women. Because we are mostly the feeders of families. If your husband appears here and I don't like what he looks like, maybe he's obese or maybe he's too thin, I'll blame you, the wife. You see? And even when we are PhDs, we are presidents, we are ministers, we are who? We still go to the kitchen to know what our visitors are going to eat. Because we feel comfortable feeding people naturally. And we determine what they are going to eat. But those of you who don't, okay, if you don't have women in your household, it's okay. It's okay. You can Google nutrition, what should I eat? You can calculate, yeah, what is good for you, yeah, right? But I've worked mostly with the women in the villages. It is so crucial to them. Whatever they do, they tell you, whatever I do is what is good for my children. Of course, they don't talk about that, the husbands, no. What for my children. And I do this for my children. I want my children to be okay. I want my children to be okay when I'm not there. Because in my own village, and I won't talk about other villages, the minute a woman dies, another woman is at the door waiting to come in. So why should you care about that man anyway? So that's why it's so good to work with women. They are loyal. They care about something very crucial. They care about the future. And my door is open to young men as well, because I like them to treat women with dignity, properly. And I come from a past where a man's status was determined by how he took care of his family. But these modern men are different. So culturally, women were valued. A man could not sell family land, dispose of it, family livestock, without the woman being consulted. It's different now. We can't go backward anyway, but we mentor where we can. So actually in my office, I run a journal. It's a peer-reviewed scientific journal. So I work with the women on the ground, but at the same time, I care about higher education. I care about high skills. I care about Africa being able to compete internationally. So I just woke up and I started a journal. So right now, it's been running since 2001. Finally, we got indexed by Scopus. So we know we can publish papers there. So what's the message there? You must be persistent, like MasterCard Foundation. You must stay the course, yeah? And that is not just one shoe fits all. It's not one thing only. We want people to be here also, to serve on boards, to tell the stories internationally. I can stand here and tell this story where my woman on the ground may not be able to do that. And I think it's absolutely critical. We should be the ones to advise our presidents, because many of our presidents and politicians, in Kenya, they just went up to 12th grade and they stayed there, and they don't understand any issues, and they are supposed to know everything. Because I've been in that parliament. You are supposed to know everything. So, making sure that we focus on youth, and making sure that even as women, we are role models for fellow women is absolutely critical. And I would just like to urge those of you who are here and who have some resources, I know you are here, it's not MasterCard Foundation only, that education for women is key. I had a policeman father. Policemen never educated their children, let alone girls. But I used to beat boys in mathematics. I used to go to the blackboard and do math, you know? And the boys would wait for me along the side to beat me up, and I would be there beating them up, fighting, you know? And it is the teachers who tell you, oh, girls can't do mathematics. Where? These women who sell things by the roadside, they never even went to school, but they know their figures. Yeah, this idea women cannot do mathematics is out of question. And so you men who have daughters, and I know you are very close to them, right? You are very close to them. A survey was done in Kenya once, and for women who are sort of making it, I'm telling you, each one of them had been mentored by a male figure. Their mentor was, and encourager, was either a father, a brother, an uncle, a teacher, or someone. So, men, you are not spared in all this. You have a major, major role to play. And at the moment, you are the ones who are in big positions, and we like a diverse society. And I believe that whenever you have diversity, and you have seen that, I'm sure, in your breakout sessions, genders just bring different ideas to the table. Yeah, we complement each other. We complement each other. And as I've come through the profession, you find I'm the only woman and 15 men. You know? So you say, what do I do? What do I do with all these men? So one time, and things I remember, many of them may not be on agriculture, but what I'm telling you is that when you find yourself, you are maybe a lone female. It's not that you are special. You're supposed to bring something to that table. And I remember one board I was on, they were denying women housing allowance. Oh, because they are women, you know, they are married, they have their husbands. Some of them didn't even have a husband. And I said, I'm resigning. I'm resigning. That organization remembers me just for that. For nothing else. Because I was resigning, they now got housing allowance. They got it for the women. So that's when it started to be equity and so on. And as I wind up in the Kenyan constitution, I was part of the group that was in the parliament, including someone you all know internationally, our late Wangari Maathai, where we were clamoring to have at least 1/3 women in everything that we do publicly, appointments. What is good right now that I see, because I'm no longer in the parliament, we are implementing the new constitution, that like Gilbert was here, Gilbert was here, that in fact, it is the men, if you don't fulfill that requirement, it is the men who say, oh, we don't have enough women. You see? Yeah. So it serves everybody well. And so let me just thank you for what you are doing. Let me encourage you. And let me tell you that if you come to Africa and you want support to bring young people together, you want your resources to be used properly and transparently, look for women like me. Yeah. Because corruption is eating up Africa. Corruption is everywhere. I'm told even in the US it's there, in the UK, Germany, Japan. I'm told it is there. But let me tell you why it's not good for Africa. Our economies are small. They are struggling. Corruption denies everybody opportunities. Corruption is money, small taxation which is diverted, aid money diverted, World Bank loans diverted. That's what corruption is. And many people don't want to say the word corruption, but I can say it. I can say so. It is wrong. And you young people have to speak against it. And the good thing about Kenya as a government is that Kenyans are very savvy on social media, and that the government actually reads. They read. And you are on social media talking, because if we speak like this, we might actually be accused of hate speech. But if we are on social media saying, government, do this, don't do ABCD, they listen and then they take action. Thank you so much and welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Rwanda. Ethiopia, I go there. Mali, Nigeria is great. Uganda is great. South Africa is great. Where haven't I been? Namibia is great. Malawi, Zambia. The whole of Africa is great. And you are welcome. Thank you so much.